Hey everybody, it's another day of, I guess, being at home, the stay-at-home order, working from home, going on week 4 now or something like that. And the last couple days I've found, well, probably the last week or so, that more and more I'm noticing these little nuggets of wisdom, or I'm not sure what to, I guess, call them, that seem to pop up during the course of the day. And they've probably always been there. Maybe I've just slowed down enough where I'm paying attention to them because I'm not moving so fast onto the next thing. And so, being this is a very unique time, I thought that I would try to capture those and do it probably through video. I'm not a writer. I could probably become a writer, but I don't want to invest the time. So video is pretty easy, unedited, just kind of straight from things that I've kind of picked up for today. And I don't know if this will be an everyday thing, a couple times a week maybe, but wanted to share a few things that kind of came up today here before I kind of wrap up and get ready for tomorrow. The first thing that stood out to me this morning, I woke up and I was feeling a little tight. My body was a little sore. And so I wanted to open it up a little bit and do some stretching. And so I'd heard about this yoga app. And so I downloaded it and it was getting ready to start. And I thought, what am I doing yoga for? And I began to think of all these people that do yoga, that are yoga masters. I set up, it was kind of in front of a window that looks outside. And of course it would look outside, it's a window. But I was like, are the blinds closed? What if people see me? And I thought, I'm just doing yoga. And it was almost like I was starting to talk myself out of trying something new. And what stood out to me is on the screen, it just said, tap to begin. And I think sometimes that's what we need to do. I realized in talking with, listening to teachers and talking to other people, there's so much information coming at us right now. So many options of how we can approach things in education, or how many different exercise programs do we hear about, how many diets exist, and sometimes we can overthink it and then not do anything. And so this morning, the screen tap to begin just kind of stood out and said, sometimes that's all you have to do. We just have to tap, begin, learn from the process, and kind of see where that takes us. The second thing that kind of popped up with me today, it kind of came out of the end of the day, at the end of work. I was in a lot of meetings today, just kind of listening to what teachers are grappling with, some of the questions, the wonderings they had. And I started my day with a great to-do list and had some products, some things that I wanted to finish. And I got to the end of the day and that to-do list looked the same. There was nothing I could say, oh, I accomplished it. And so as I started to get a little frustrated, I kind of caught myself in that mindset and stepped back a little bit. And one of the things I'm trying to pay attention to is perspective. And I thought, well, what came out of today? If there was no real product finished, what came out of sitting through and listening in these meetings? And I realized that I was able to listen and hear a lot, that there were things that inform work that I'll be engaging in, things that will make the products better. And so maybe I didn't get to check off a to-do, but I did get some learning in, and was able to think about things differently. And so kind of that piece that stood out for me was perspective, and always trying to keep that a little bit in the kind of what's going on with things as they are today. I could have walked away feeling like I wasn't very accomplished for the day, but in hindsight and reflecting on it, I did gather a lot of good information and was able to hear a lot of good things and things I can use, like I said, to make those products better, to make the work better. And so perspective is an important piece, I think, that jumped out at me today. And the last one was, as I was sitting through these meetings and kind of keeping in mind this idea of perspective, something popped into one of my emails and I clicked on a link, and the article, I believe the title was like, Zoom exhaustion is real. And so a lot of us are using Zoom for meetings. And I think I just went from one meeting to the next today in Zoom, and I know a lot of people are finding themselves in a lot of meetings that way. And it got me thinking about, as I read this article, about how we can be exhausted and what's happening as we're trying to pay attention in these virtual settings. And that got to me thinking, like, what's the big deal? I've been in meetings before for a full day, where I go from one meeting to the next. So how is this different? And that got me thinking that sometimes what we're engaging is the same, but it's different. Being in meetings all day, what I realize in probably the normal sense is that I'm able to get up and move. Maybe I'm changing locations. Maybe there's a time set for lunch. There's breaks that are in there. And in this setting, from home, if we're not careful, we can just probably sit all day. And so the article was talking about kind of what is happening as we're trying to pay attention, and the ability to maybe multitask a little bit easier and not be fully engaged, or how it's draining us in different ways. And so that just kind of got me thinking about what else is the same but different in this. And I think that's something I'll continue to think about. You know, leadership, for example, there's key components and tenets to leadership, but how does that look when you can't go physically be with somebody, or to go observe and watch things? So I think there's a lot of same but different that's happening at this time. And so those were three things, like I said, that kind of stood out to me today, that I'm going to kind of keep an eye on and continue to kind of monitor. And sometimes, you know, we just got to tap to begin. We just got to jump in, get started, and know that it'll get better, it'll get easier. I always remember to keep perspective in that things may not always be as they seem, or sometimes we got to put them in the right context, and kind of see things for as they are. And then also being aware that sometimes it's same as, but it's different. Things that we're engaging in, it could feel like it's the same thing we've always done, but it's different because we're living in a different time. There's different things that come up. Our context is a little different. And so wanted to share those with you, thinking that I may just kind of do this every day. One, just to sort of serve as a bit of a video journal during this time. And like I said, I'm not sure what's causing them to jump out right now, but I think some of it is just, in some cases, have kind of slowed down a little bit. So I hope this added some value, or maybe there's something in this 8 minutes or so that you can kind of take with you and be thinking about as we continue on this crazy time in the world right now. So until next time, not sure when that'll be. Maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's a couple days. Please remember to take care of yourself, and also in the process to take care of each other.